Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today, we are discussing our September Buddy Read thriller title. If you would like to see this in video format, head on over to Patreon. You'll get to see our lovely faces and no commercials. You'll even have access to all of the after shows. So if you're interested in that at all, head on over to Patreon and sign up. Don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Clubs app for even more bookish chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is feature co-host Classy from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, Tamara, how are you? Happy September.
I know.
Almost fall.
My favorite season, by the way.
Yes, sweater weather.
Yes, I know, right? Oh, tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me at Classy Green on X, Facebook, and Twitter, and the Bookish Virtual Assistant on Instagram. I'm sorry, you can find me on Instagram, Classy Green.
All right, awesome. Okay, so before we begin, we would like to remind you that as always with book chats, we talk full spoilers. So spoiler alert, you've been warned. Today we are discussing the book Never Coming Home, written by Hannah Mary McKinnon. The audiobook is narrated by Alex Wyndham. Published on May 24th, 2022 by Mira and Penguin Audio. The paperback comes in at 349 pages. The unabridged audio comes in at 8 hours and 26 minutes. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Yes. Let's see. First comes love, then comes murder. Lucas Forrester didn't hate his wife. Michelle was brilliant, sophisticated, and beautiful. Sure, she had extravagant spending habits and that petty attitude, a total disregard for anyone below her status, but she also had a lot to offer. Most notably, wealth that only the 1% could comprehend. For years, Lucas had been honing a flawless plan to inherit Michelle's fortune. Unfortunately, it involved taking a hit out on her. Every track was covered, no trace left behind, and now Lucas plays the grieving husband so well he deserves an award. But when a shocking photo and a cryptic note show up on his doorstep, Lucas goes from hunter to prey. Someone is on to him, and they're closing in. Told with a dark wit and a sharply feminist sensibility, Never Coming Home is a terrifying tale of duplicity that will have you side-eyeing your spouse as you dash to the breathtaking end. And you know, I just realized there was a little spoiler in that synopsis. I didn't recognize that the first time I read that.
There is a spoiler in there. There sure is.
Yeah.
Okay. High level. What did you think?
I was, you know what, this is my second time reading this, and I was just like, the ending is contrived the right word that I want to use.
Weak.
Yeah. And I was trying to like figure out why did I give it what I gave it?
Girl, I was thinking, why did Classy like this? Why did she like this enough to want to read this a second time? I was confused.
Well, you know what? I think when we were at Thriller Fest and somebody was like, yeah, you know, about that story. And I was like, yeah, let's read that. I gave it 4 stars. I couldn't quite remember. And then when I started listening, I was like, oh, why did I give this 4 stars?
Maybe you were feeling generous when you listened.
Yeah, because you know how sometimes like when you're in a mood and this kind of, I believe I came off of a book that was pretty crappy and I got to this and I was just like, yes, I needed that, you know, like that kind of, but yeah, I was trying to remember like, why in the hell did I give this? I won't say the rating because, you know, I want us to rate it later. But yeah.
Yeah. So when I finished it, I said, duh. So I have to say, so literally the whole book, I said, it's your wife, dummy. It's your wife. The whole book, no matter what the author through, no matter what twist she tried. I'm like, no, it's your wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't even see anything else. The author couldn't persuade me to think any other kind of way. I'm like, all of this stuff are clear. They're clear red herrings. You're clearly stupid. It's your wife. The
Yeah.
whole book. That's all I could think.
Yeah. And I mean, in most of the things that were done could have only been done by his wife, like
Mhm.
closing out accounts and shutting things down, and the drug addict brother-in-law. Yeah, I mean, he might have been smart, but I don't think he would have had the gumption to do all that, cuz he'd rather be drinking or drugging than
Yeah. He
trying to
was too
shut you
high
down.
to have the bandwidth to get away with that and not
Yeah.
mess up.
Yeah. But I will say the first time I read it, I did not think it was the wife.
You
I thought
didn't.
it was no, I thought it was the cop
Okay.
and Jolly.
Okay.
So um I did think it was a woman. That I
Mm-hmm.
did think, but I did not think it was the wife until I can't remember when. Like I said, I read it last year, but I didn't think it was her until I can't remember when.
Mm.
But yeah.
Okay, so I literally posted today. So I read this I listened in like 2 days, 2.5 days, maybe 2.5. So it was fast enough, but I posted on our Discord. I'm finding this extremely slow and borderline boring. And that was
Yeah.
me for like most of the book.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
listening. I know what's happening. It's very clear, straightforward story, but I'm not very entertained at all.
No.
So when
I
I
would say
went,
it got entertaining when I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, it was. It was slow. It was very slow, and I think it probably only picked up when Bobby, what is his name? The
Let's
guy
just
from
say
his
Bobby the
past.
gangster.
Yeah, when he came back in, it kind of, it was like, ooh, a twist.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably when it started picking up, but that was a fair amount into the story.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty
Yeah.
far. It was pretty far
Yeah.
in. And so quickly, I wanted to go back to the description and script, right? Because after I finished it, I'm like, let's see. So one of the blurbs was from Heather Gutenkopf, who wrote The Overnight Guest, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed her book. Her blurb says, a highly entertaining, bone chilling must read. I'm like, did we read the same book? Did we read the same book?
Yeah, it was not bone chilling. I could tell
Nothing.
you that.
No, no.
No.
Even when like the author tried to kick up the gore a little bit, it did not make me, I didn't get the vibes. Like I remember reading something by your girl, what's her name?
Karen.
Karen Slaughter, and I'm like, OMG, that is
Yes.
brutal. Oh my
And
god.
yeah, and when you're saying when she picked up the gore, here I am thinking,
What gore.
where was the gore? The
So
dog in the
the
entrails? That
dog scene and when he was digging up the body, I feel like that was the most
oh,
gore. And we
okay.
didn't even get like, it wasn't that gory. That's why I'm like, well, that
It was
wasn't
off the
even.
page. Yeah.
No.
It
And
it was left to our imagination.
yes.
And I didn't have any after reading this. It was just like, it's not going to be that scary because this shit ain't scary.
No. I even wanted to see him get the beat down of his life, and we didn't even see that.
That's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Some fucking triumph from the women.
Yeah.
But I know we'll go back to that. But yeah. Yeah. And even with Bobby, yeah, Karen Slaughter would have slaughtered this
Yes.
man.
Karen Slaughter, she's got the market. If you want something, you be like, oh my God, that's awful.
Right.
Awful in
It's
the
like, how
best
do you
way, right?
sleep? Right.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you sleep? Where
Yeah,
do you come up with this? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
This was so PG. It wasn't even funny. It was like I felt like I could have been watching a Lifetime movie.
Mm-hmm. exactly. Or what was the one little channel? Yeah, almost like an after school special. I remember it was one little channel. What was the one show? The teenage pregnant girl. It wasn't like MTV, but it was some little show. The girl was a teenager and she got pregnant, and I can't remember what channel it was, but that channel had all the like teenage kind of shows where it was a little cursing, but not much, because
Hmm.
it just kind of crossed that PG-13 line or whatever. And that's what I felt about this book. And I was like, I must have been in a freaking reading rut to give this a 4.
And to be fair, I'm coming off of going into this book, I'm coming off of a very, very high.
See?
I just got finished. I read The Fourth Wing. Me and Casey just talked about it. Although this is coming
Oh,
out weeks after. It's hitting
yeah.
the feed weeks after. But recording wise, we literally just talked about this 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah.
And 5-star read. If you're curious about that podcast, listen to it. But I'm
Yeah.
coming off of just feeling the best vibes. I had a book hangover. It was so good.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to switch gears and read some
Right?
thriller. And then I'm like, oh.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could see where now I will give them that this, they tried to give you thriller vibes, but I guess I almost think sometimes like have we just passed the level of you really got to shock the shit out of us to for us
Maybe.
to say, yeah, because I was just like, have
Yeah.
y'all read Karen Slaughter?
I feel like you got to
I'm-
pull out some different tricks for us. We've seen
yeah,
a lot. We're not going to
yeah,
use the same old. I mean, the literal fact that I knew who was doing this to him for the entire book was a real wet blanket.
yeah. You was all like, "Can I just go to the end?" But I know I gotta do this recording, so in
Yes.
case we gotta talk about some stuff in the middle,
Right.
I gotta listen to the whole book. Yeah, I felt
Exactly.
like that too. And I was just like, it's been so long since I've read it that I needed to but I was like you, like I was listening, but it was white noise. And I know I missed some things, but I did not miss the premise of the book. I did not miss the key part of what we're probably going to talk about today. It was just fluff in
Mhm.
between,
Yeah.
so um but yeah, I was just like, God, Classy, what the hell
So
were you reading? Like, I want to go back and look at my timeline and Goodreads to see what the hell were you reading that this was a 4.
did you make notes on Goodreads as you read, like comments?
Sometimes I do, but I don't think I did on this one.
Mhm.
No, no. I
Mm.
did not make any notes, but I do like when I was listening to the book, there were some certain points when I was listening, I was like, "Oh, I remember where I was when I was listening to this." And I was like, "Oh," like how you sometimes feel like that excitement part, and I was like, and I wasn't excited, but I just remember the location, like I was in a car and I was driving, I had gotten lost.
Yeah.
And I was turning around and I was like, I think it might have just been one of those books where I just needed something to listen to and I picked up and because I don't think it was a recommendation. It might have just been something that kind of popped up in my scribd. You know how they'll just
Mhm.
say, if you like this, you might like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, and to be fair, it wasn't trash. It just wasn't exceptional in any kind of way. Any
no,
kind of way. Um,
no, it
yeah.
it was very mediocre. It
Mhm.
was, I would say this is a starter kit
Mhm.
for anyone who is interested in getting into thriller mysteries. I would say this might be a nice little starter.
Yeah, this is dip your toe in. You don't have a lot of experience in the genre, so pretty much you're not accustomed to all the tropes and trends yet.
Yeah, because you would think, oh my god, the twists, the turns.
I'm
You
like,
really
what
would be
twist?
like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh my god, yeah, you would. I
Yeah.
think that.
And honestly, so even since you said, yeah, let's read it, to be fair, I didn't really read the synopsis. I just picked it up and started listening. And then I was like, okay, let me go back and read the synopsis, because I'm like, okay, this thing is from a man's point of view, the whole thing. And I kept waiting. I kept waiting for a Gone Girl. I was waiting for it to flip to Michelle, and it never did. And
Yeah.
I feel like that was an opportunity lost, because I think it could have been more, even
Mm.
if you're going to know who it is the whole time, it could be more exciting to
Yeah.
hear her motivations and her being
Yeah.
sneaky and stuff. And I kept waiting, and I kept looking at the percentage. I'm like, I don't think it's ever going to
Gonna
switch.
happen.
And it
And that's
didn't.
so funny. I wrote the same thing down on my notes, that the reveal probably would have been much better if the story was told from a different character's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't Michelle, even if it was Aunt Jolly, or Ann Jolly, because she helped her, through, if it would just been somebody else
Or
than
hell,
him.
Nora, her mother.
Ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
that would have been. I like that one.
Because she was a major component in that whole
I
scheme.
like that. Yeah,
Her
because I
mother
mean,
did the heavy lifting.
she did, with the whole acting like she was sick, and she
Mm-hmm.
was basically giving over all of the fortune to Lucas, because, he was the dutiful, grieving husband who was
Oh
going to
my
take care of
gosh.
her addict son. And oh, I
Can you
like.
imagine? Like, she's sitting there every time she sees him. You're the best son-in-law. You're the best that my daughter could have gotten. You're so
Mhm.
great to this family. In the back of her head, she's
So,
like, oh
like,
my
you
God.
motherfucker. Right, because
Exactly.
he killed her husband.
Hmm. Which they don't
Try.
know that. They don't even
Yeah,
know
they
that.
don't. They just assume that, after what everything he did. But yeah, but we know, the reader knows, he
Hmm.
killed the husband. He caused the brother to OD. He tried to kill off her daughter.
Although he doesn't take responsibility for that. He says, well, why did you pour more in there, you dummy?
Because I'm an addict.
So you give an addict
Right.
what you call it, and then you're surprised that he took more of it.
Thank you. Oh gosh. But yeah, I do like that if this story would have been told from, Nora, or, any of the women. I mean, everybody had a key role. And, and Nora, listeners, is the mom who was supposedly dying of cervical cancer.
Mm.
And the neighbor was a makeup artist
Mm-hmm.
who made her look like her skin was paper thin, crepe paper,
Yeah.
gave her basically the smoky, dusky eyes of a woman in hospice. And this woman was healthier than us.
At the end, she comes out. He like, oh my God, why you look like
It's
that?
a miracle. She's risen from the dead.
She like, no. Oh
No.
my God.
Yeah.
Honestly, and the neighbors poisoning him with like laxatives. They
Girl.
So they literally was Travis the brother's name? What was the brother's
Yes.
name? So they let
Travis.
Travis eat his half, and then they waited, and then they put the laxatives in the
In the
rest.
other half. Yes. I was like,
They coming in
mm.
it, or the wife did it. They coming in and out of that house at will,
Yeah.
just doing
Writing.
stuff.
Yeah, just haunting him basically.
Yeah.
And and I mean, it was like you said, there was, oh, you know what? I think that's when I realized that it was the wife with the smiley face on the mirror. Because
Yeah, I
I was
think
like,
she was trying to clue in her brother some kind of way.
yeah, I
Or,
think that's when I realized, like, oh shit, it's
yes, the
her.
wife.
And then when the wedding dress on his anniversary, I was like, yeah, it's a done deal.
It's
And
definitely, yeah.
what I didn't like is Hannah Mary McKinnon wanted us to believe that Lucas was so smart and so brilliant and such a mastermind, and his ass couldn't figure this shit out.
No, he's
Like,
stupid.
it's like, and I mean, were you that full of yourself? For one, he was smart enough to get burner phones, a bike instead of using his car to get to his location, all this shit, the the dark web, but you didn't get security cameras.
I know. And
And
you
the
didn't
other part
sweep for
was
them
he was a
either.
tech recruiter. He
Yeah.
was a recruiter in tech, and you didn't get that.
He
So
didn't
that was
sweep
another thing. Like, and
for
I didn't
cameras
even.
or bugs,
Yeah,
trackers or anything. He didn't sweep for
yeah,
anything. He's like, well, whatever. I'm good.
yeah. And like I said, the first time I read it, I didn't even think about that. But while I'm reading it the second time, I was like, he said he was a tech
Mm-hmm.
recruiter, and he didn't think about putting security cam after I'm finding notes at my door and I can't figure out who's dropping this shit off at my house. Little things that's not normal in my house that are happening while I'm gone. You found footprints in the garden? Come on,
Mm-hmm.
dude.
Yeah, and then to jump. So he sees this, and after a couple of things, all of a sudden he's like, I've got to get in contact with the guy. I've got to see where he buried the body. A failsafe was the guy gave him the coordinates of where the body would be found.
Right, those
And
three
he's
words, yeah.
like, that is like the number one rule. Mr. Smarty Pants should know you never go to the body. I don't care what you think is happening. Show me the damn ghost before I go look at that body.
I will not show
I
up at
will
the scene
not.
of the nope.
And he even said, he's like, well, they weren't able to catch me because I wasn't lying. I didn't know where the body was. I don't know where she is. And then he fucked it up by going to look at the body. And I'm like, see, and they out there recording your ass. You go
Mm-hmm.
to the
And not
body.
only that, they set your ass up to kill to say you killed your assassin or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call him. And they wind up killing him, or did he kill himself? I
No,
don't
so
know.
look, okay, this is what
That was
happened in the
weird.
woods. So Michelle is begging the killer, please don't kill me. I have a family, a husband. Please, I'll give you anything, 5 times the money. I'll do anything. And he's like, no, I will not take money. It is all about my reputation. You will die. They get out there, he's digging and doing all this stuff. And what attacks him? A bobcat. A bobcat like jumps at him or jumps on him and he flips the fuck out. And
I would
then
have flipped out too.
yes, and then she got the upper hand. I think she got the gun or whatever at that point and killed him. She killed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she walked her ass to the police station and told.
Yep. And from there, the
yeah.
plot thickened.
Yeah. And
Now,
she
you know
only
what?
told her. No one else
Yeah.
though. Only the detective.
Right. But they had to have told Nora, because you know what I mean? They had to
Right.
tell the mom for them to
Yeah, I mean just from the law enforcement standpoint.
right.
Because
Yeah,
only the
because
detective was in on it.
right, because she told at the end, Lucas was like, aren't you gonna arrest me, or are you gonna tell your other people? And she's like, today's my day off. I'm
Mhm.
not here. And I was like, ooh,
Now, this
you
is
don't
one
even know.
thing, maybe you can refresh me. This is one thing I missed, but I didn't care to go back to re-listen. How did they know the cop from the neighbors? Like, how did they know the cop? Like, they brought her in. What was the
Oh,
connection?
So Corinne and the two neighbors, they are a lesbian couple.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ladies met Aunt Jolly first
Okay.
on some kind of trip. They met up in Canada or something, but the relationship didn't work out. Oh, wait, I can't remember, where were they? In the US?
Yeah, they were in the
Or what
U.S.
city? Yeah,
Yeah.
wherever it was, one of them, she met Ann Jolly, and that's how she came to this city, whatever
Okay.
city they were in. But that relationship didn't work out.
Okay.
But they still wind up being friends, and in the community. But that's how they knew her.
Okay, so maybe that's what happened. She got back, she went to her mom, they came up with something, enlisted the neighbors, and they said, "Hey, we know that detective. We know her."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's
Or the detectives was like, "Oh, your neighbor? Oh, we
yeah.
can let's,
Wanna
so and so is a makeup artist. she thinks, because before that, the one thing he did dote on his mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
He did like her. Out of everybody, he liked her. Um, Granted, the money thing, but I think that's what, how they probably decided, oh yeah, he really likes the mother-in-law, and if you're gone,
We can use her as
we can use,
leverage.
right, because now he probably thinks he's hit the mother load.
He did. He's like, oh my God, it's a windfall. Everything is mine. As he cackles. Yes.
Sinister laugh.
And
But yeah,
yeah.
but he was, he wasn't as smart as the author wanted us to think he was. And I think like, I know when it comes to anti-heroes, some authors, not all, they either want you to I think she kind of wanted us to sympathize with him because he had this sob story background. My dad, we were poor, my mother died, and she constantly kind of, gave that to us like, see?
Not only that, she made her unlikable.
Yeah.
She made Michelle
So
very
so
mean.
unlikable. Yeah. Is it in the description? No, I think I might have read somewhere else like she was like a Karen.
Well,
Because
think
that
about it.
was.
She talked about the help awful. She
Mm-hmm.
was trash to her employees at work.
Yeah.
She was mean about the dog. She was like, there was a couple there were several things where I think she was purposefully trying to make her just snotty and not
Yeah.
friendly. And even like how she tells him, oh, we're going to be vegan,
Yeah.
like it comes off like very entitled and just
She
an
was a
awful
trust fund
kind of
baby.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a stuck up trust fund baby who wanted her way. I mean, she basically had him buy her some $3,000 earrings that she could have bought for herself, but she just whined and complained and wanted him to buy them.
And don't
So she
forget,
could brag.
that she fired the employee for using the copy machine to print flyers
Yes.
for a muscular
I
dystrophy fundraiser. She
know.
fired them for using the flyer, the
Yeah.
copy machine.
So the author she tried to did the polar opposites of, see, he's married to this witch, and she, but he lived this poor life, and all he wants is money so he can make sure his dad is taken care of in the nursing home. And
Mm-hmm.
that was, yeah, we're supposed to like him even though he wants to kill his wife for her money.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the one thing. They either make them so horrible that you don't like them. Well, or I would say they make them so horrible, but they're charismatic. So he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't charismatic to me
Mm-mm.
at all. There's some who are, just so slick and you like, but I kind of like him, even though he's evil. But
Mm-hmm.
him, he wasn't. He wasn't charismatic at all. He was, she tried to make us sympathize with him, and I didn't have that for
Maybe
him.
that was the problem. The problem, one of the problems, that not only did we not sympathize with him like she may have wanted us to, but we also didn't even really root for the wife like that, because I
Yeah.
didn't. I'm like, yeah, that sucks to happen and she shouldn't have done that. But again, I'm like, she's alive. She's alive. And I
Yeah.
don't even feel bad that he tried to kill her. And I feel like I
Yeah.
should, but I don't. So we have it twofold.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't either. I wasn't just like, I hope she's alive. She really deserves to. That's just so sad.
Like, whoop.
She really deserves to live. It's
Like,
like, sucks to be her. Oh, well.
I mean, like, is it okay if he tried to kill her if she was an awful human? I mean,
Hey, she fired the damn employee for using the copy machine.
yeah,
Man, that's low.
yeah, she's
That's
not a
real
good
low.
person.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which
yeah.
I thought was kind of weird at the end that she had friends that wanted to help her.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I was like, wait, she got friends? I thought
Mm-hmm.
she didn't have any friends.
Oh, she has some.
Yeah, but she had some. Well, maybe somebody just was like, you know what? We're not gonna let this man get away with this,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of ties into that synopsis spoiler that I didn't recognize, that feminist sensibility
Mm-hmm.
that they mentioned. So yeah, they just kind of teamed up, and it was like, not today. We're not
Yeah.
going to let you get away with this.
No, they went to the
Yeah.
extreme too. But let's talk about that when we come back from the break. It's time for a break, you guys. By listening to these commercials, you are supporting the podcast. And while you're at it, head on over to Amazon and pick up your copy of the book review journal, available right now. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. Let's continue. We want to talk about her friends and what else we want to talk about, or her, I don't know if they're friends, her accomplices, her.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're friends, because remember, Lucas, or accomplices, I would say, or just some women who just decided not today. The man's not going to help today, because I mean, even Lucas said that she was always even trying to outdo the neighbors. Like, they would always give them like a bouquet of flowers if they watched the house when they were on vacation. And Michelle would try to, one up them, basically. So if they got a bouquet of roses, I don't know, she'd get some, what's better than roses? I don't know. I won't say hydrangeas, but you know what I mean? She just kind of stepped it up a game, just to show them that, I have money, I'm better. But
but they're in the same neighborhood. They both have money.
Yes. But yeah. So yeah, I was really shocked that they came to her rescue. But I mean, I think probably when you think about it, you're just like, wait a minute. Your husband tried to kill you? Really? I think I might have tried to help too, even though she was a bitch. I was
Yeah.
like,
but if it was okay, so let's just pretend. Let's just say neighbor that I don't really like comes to me with their mother and maybe a police officer at that time, depending on which way it went, because we don't know. They didn't really tell us which way it went.
Right.
And said, hey, we need your help. This man tried to kill his wife, and that's your neighbor. We need to teach this guy a lesson. I'm like, where's the proof? Don't have me tied up with somebody who attempted to kill someone. He could come over here and kill me.
Right.
Why would I do this for someone that was not a friend or a family member?
Yeah, that's very true.
What would motivate me to do this? And do they have to be lesbians to be feminist? I don't know. I feel like there's something there. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I see what you're saying there. Because, I wonder, I hate to say this, but was she checking off a box again? Because we've talked about that before, where you just have one little section in there and you like,
yeah,
got my LGBTQIA, got my black character.
Yep.
No black characters are in this book though, but just to kind of make your book so-called well-rounded and inclusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You would really have to show some proof, because the killer, Woods, did not tell her who hired him.
Right.
He didn't even have proof of payment. But they had something that led them back. I don't know if it was the locker or
I think she didn't think it was him, but she said at the end, when the tables turned and the killer thought he knew he was going to die, he started singing some information that he wasn't before.
Okay.
So there was something that gave her what she needed to know it was him.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I'm not sure what would cause me to want to help you? Like you said, it would have to be some absolute proof, which I believe Anne Jolly, the detective, probably it was probably airtight before she could even probably present something like that. Or the Anne Jolly was like, come on now, you know me. You know I wouldn't steer you wrong. You
Right.
know how I do. Help me out here.
Yeah.
Um,
Go
but
risk
yeah,
your life. That guy's dangerous, but go risk it, sure.
right. But I also think that they realized too that he's not as smart as they thought he thought he was. Cause I mean, they basically had the one up on him.
He was so confused. He's like, how come I can't get in my house? What's wrong with the locks? He like, why they fake try to kill my dog? He was very confused. He was
Man,
very,
he had lost it. He had lost it
he
them
went to
last couple of
work talking shit. Like, like what? He
Where's the
told,
mail? Where's the mail?
he told his boss, I'm not coming in. I'm sick. He hang up on the man. He like, I don't care. I
Yeah.
cannot, I'm not together right now.
No, he came in disheveled, looking for mail. At one
Mm-hmm.
point, I even thought that his assistant was in on it because, you know, she was kind of, "Are you okay?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, he was the bad. I won't say the bad thing. Like, you know, karma's a bitch, and then you die.
Mm-hmm.
But with this story, the karma that really got him really wasn't kind of his recent actions. It was kind of like his past came back. His past came back, and then everything else kind of slowly creeped up because the way this story started, um, she was already like kidnapped and he thought she was dead. So we had came into the story midway, basically. And then it kind of unfolded slowly. Now I did enjoy that part. I
Mm-hmm.
will say that how even though it was slow, but how she slowly unfolded the story, you know, because we didn't realize that he was a con artist and his backstory and all that. So, you know, I did like that the ghost of his past caught up with him and then all shit broke loose, really.
Yeah, that was like, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back. And I thought that was pretty interesting how he decided to try to frame the mob people for the disappearance of his wife. I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Meet me in the park.
yeah, so that clearly backfires, right?
Mhm.
So obviously the detective totally let that guy go
Mhm.
when they figured out, okay, he was just lying, you know. But they used them. They said, "Hey, guess what? We got your boy."
Yeah. But the other thing is like big dummy. You big dummy. I'm going to do a Fred G. Sanford here. You just try to frame them for the disappearance of your wife. Do you not think they're going to tell that you are Michael Cuddy?
Mhm. Of
That's
course
all
they
they
gonna tell.
need. Yeah. So now they realize you've lied about who you are. Come on now. It's all like,
Yeah. It just started falling apart. Like he really I almost feel like he could have gotten away with it had the fluke not happened with the bobcat. He would have gotten away with it.
damn bobcat. Girl,
Yeah.
when they said a bobcat, I was like, really a bobcat? Where the fuck y'all at? I don't even think they told us exactly. I just know they're in the US and his dad is overseas in London or whatever. But I was like, a bobcat, really? He's
I'm gonna
deathly afraid of
Google.
cats. Oh, duh. Thank you, Goodreads. Goodreads has the setting, Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
but yeah, that just was like out of all the things, a damn bobcat jumps out. He loses his shit. He probably was running and trying to get away, drop the gun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but that's all I have about this story. I still can't believe I gave it a 4.
I know. So what did you think about the audiobook narrator?
Mm,
I honestly, so when I was trying to do the math on how old he should have been, and so he should have been the main character and his wife should have been in their like mid to late 20s, right? So he
Ooh.
ran away at like 17 or 18. They
Right.
dated for what? Less than a year. They were married
Yeah.
for 3 years. So like even being conservative, like 24 or 25 years old, maybe?
Yeah, because I know Bobby the gangster mentioned, whoo, things have changed within, I think, even if we said 8 years. So, yeah, that would give him 17 to 8, 25. So, yeah. And this author made them sound like they were in their 40s. I
Right.
mean, this narrator.
Yes, this guy was so old sounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the wrong voice for their age range.
Yeah. Because I was thinking from this narrator that they were mid 40s, late 30s.
Mhm.
Um, because I think he mentioned that she didn't want children, or if she, and he was kind of glad that she didn't want children. But yeah, I didn't really care for the narrator. I didn't like the female voices.
Yeah.
They were nasally, and I don't know. It was just something about him that I didn't like. And I don't know if it was because he was switching between his British or London accent or whatever, however you call that, and American.
But his
And it was
American accent wasn't American accent.
no, it wasn't. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it was, but I didn't like the female voices, and I cringed a few times. Yeah, I was just
I
like,
didn't
ugh.
like it. I mean, I think maybe his voice also added to the slowness and boredom. They needed a much different voice.
Yeah, yeah.
Even
Because even
listening
at
fast,
1.8,
he's
yeah,
still.
it was still horrible, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, ugh. And wait, so while I'm listening, because I had forgot that this author had an accent, or
Mhm.
this the main character. And when I'm listening, I'm like, oh shit.
Mhm.
Tamara probably over there like, what does Classy got me listening to?
I mean, to be fair, I did not expect that, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't. Sometimes I read stuff where I do hear the accent, and it doesn't bother me. But 9 times out of 10, sometimes a
Yeah.
British accent just doesn't hit for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
when I was listening, I was like, oops, I forgot.
I-
Sorry, Tamara. Because I know that's one of your things. You're just like, where is this setting? What is this setting at? And
I
because what, you
didn't
don't like
mind the
Scottish or
setting, you know.
right, it wasn't the setting, but I mean, sometimes if when we can find out the setting, we can kind of tell if the narrator is going to have an accent. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
if we know it's set in Ireland, it's
Right.
going to be someone with a Irish accent or whatever. But yeah, but this one threw me off, and I totally forgot. So
Yeah, threw
my
me.
bad.
No, it's fine. I just thought I honestly, I was tempted to text you, but I said I don't want to show my cards. I was gonna text and I said, nope,
Nope,
we gonna
nope,
let
nope.
this go to the
We gonna let it
podcast.
ride,
We gonna let it ride. Cause I'm
girl.
like, I swear, halfway through, I'm like, she liked
But that just
this
goes to show, and maybe we could talk about that in the after show, that, sometimes you don't realize you're a mood reader, or you just need something to kind of pick you up from where you were. And just to think that wherever I was in my reading situation, that this made me
it
feel
fit the
like,
bill for some reason at that time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which, um, yeah. And I think that's just the thing with reading. So maybe that could be we could talk about
Yeah.
that afterwards, because I guess this is kind of like, if you are a mood reader,
Which
some
I am
things will hit the
sometimes.
spot and some won't hit the spot. And then when you really sit down and you have to, digest and dissect, you're just like,
Yikes.
this. Yeah, it's almost like when you go back and when you start your reading journey and like I think we've talked about that before, and you go back and you look at all the books you used to read and now compared to what you read now or how you rate compared to when you first started reading, everything was, oh, this is great. This is great. And then now you're reading and you're just like,
Not so much, yeah. A
yeah.
lot of
So,
things don't hold up from the beginning of the journey versus
no,
now.
no.
And
Because
sometimes that happens a year apart from each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it does take a second read or just growth that you
Hmm.
realize, that wasn't as great as I thought. But
Hmm.
apparently it hit the spot for me at that time in my life last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hmm.
So, with that, let's go ahead and rate it, shall we?
Yes, let's rate it.
Okay, Classy, how about you give us your new revised rating?
I gave it a 3.
Okay.
Like you said, it wasn't trash, but I saw a lot of um, plot holes or just some things I just didn't recognize or that didn't stand out to me the first time. So I probably shouldn't have changed it in my Goodreads. 'Cause I don't think it's going to hurt her anyway, but yeah.
Well, we think threes on this podcast, threes are fine. It
Yeah.
wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
good. It's in the middle, right? It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I am going to deviate and I'm going to give it a 2.
All right.
I just really, even though I was able to get through it pretty quickly, I think that was because I had to. Because I like to wait to the last minute so it's fresh. So I literally finished that book like at 6 a.m. this morning. So I had
Okay.
all day to think about it and digest it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still like, mm. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
gonna
going to be memorable at all.
no, ask me in 6 months. I'll be like, what? Who?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing that I thought about too with my rating. And I was like, I can't even remember some of this stuff. Like
Hmm.
you can be like, oh, yeah, I remember. And I didn't. But yeah, I can see it too.
Yeah, and I criticize sometimes men writing women. So I kind of wonder if it was her take on writing a man that didn't hit. Something didn't hit. Something, and I don't know if she normally writes whole books from the male point of view or
Mm.
not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't
That
know.
is
It
a
was
good point.
something
Yeah.
or a couple of somethings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
you win
That's
some, you lose some. What are you going to do? I did
exactly.
finish. So there's that.
Yes.
And it
And this
didn't
was
get a
a new
1.
right. And this was another new author that um, you know, we took a chance
Hmm.
and that's what happens. That's books, period.
Yeah, you never
Yep.
know until you get into it, right?
Yep.
So, speaking of a new author, we got one more new author for October. Buddy. We are doing The Hunger by Alma Katsu, who has like kind of made a little name for herself. Her name is popular for like this book and a couple others. I've never read her before.
Neither have I.
The Hunger has been on my list for a while, and it's spooky season, y'all. It's spooky season. So it says the best thing about The Hunger is that it will scare the pants off you.
Okay, I'm gonna remember that.
So entertaining that you almost don't mind feeling queasy at dinner. The New York Times book review.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see. Because, we like the darker side of books as we were talking about with Karen Slaughter. So we'll see if Alma Katsu can pull
Right.
it
If
off.
I'm gonna be, is this a queasy for dinner? Is that what you said? Is that what that
I
said?
don't know.
Is
That's
that
what
what you
it
said?
said. Yes, it
Okay.
said so entertaining that you almost don't mind feeling queasy at
Okay.
dinner. End quote.
And somebody said this book we just read was bone chilling too, right?
They
Okay.
did. So you can't really rely on
No.
the
Yeah.
snippets because you
No.
never
Because I think
know.
they just like, friend, can you write a friend? Can you write a yeah, that's how I think some of
Yeah.
those come about. But yeah, okay.
Hmm.
I think
We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that later. We've had a few new authors this year, right?
Yeah, we've had several. This is the year of trying new authors. I feel like we've done a lot of that this
we
year.
should go through our list and kind of, look and see how many we did out of, because we're on the 10th month. We'll be on the 10th month when we get to that.
So we still have to decide our end of the year. I have a couple of things. I think I text you. We'll talk about it after. But we still have to just solidify November and December. So if you guys have something you really, really, really want us to talk about, send it over. We'll consider it.
We're open. Like she
Your
said,
time is limited for 2023.
This is the year of new authors or new stuff. So we're open.
Yeah, send it over.
Yeah,
and if we don't get to it this year, maybe next year. Never say never. It's more likely that your choice will be picked if you join the book club, because we did do a member pick this year.
And it wound up being a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so join us over on the book club's app. Follow along, and don't worry if you're not into book club. You don't actually have to attend book club. You can still just listen to us here on the podcast and comment on Discord or wherever you're comfortable. It's kind of like a easygoing, chill book club. Do what you can do, right?
Meet us. We'll meet you where you're at.
Yeah, even though we do have really fun conversations, we have a good time.
We do.
Okay, I think that's it. What do you think, Classy?
That's it for me. I have nothing else to say about Never Coming Home. Oh, and that's another. Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's how I knew too after the second read that it was her, even though I knew it was her at the end. But I was like, never coming home. It's almost like she's saying, I'm never coming home, or you think I'm never coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Noted.
It.
Okay. Yeah. All right, y'all. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.